Battlefield 4's first campaign mission opens to the playing of Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler. The rather mellow opening of this song is a stark contrast to the perilous situation that the player immediately finds himself in. You're trapped in a car seemingly underwater and are forced to make the decision to sacrifice the man who's apparently your squad leader in order for the rest of your squad to survive. The moment you make that decision, the game rewinds you back to shortly before then, so you can experience the events that led up to that tragedy. I'll let you watch that cutscene now.
Negative stat, Sergeant. Hey, Rucker, you conscious? Get back in the game, man. Stay with me.
Nice play, Rucker. That is some of the finest driving I've ever seen. Right there until the end. Hit the light pack.
Oh, shit. The seat won't budge. It did, Sergeant.
Irish, the worst thing we can do in a situation like this is panic.
Talk like that, man. You scare the crap out of me. Hey, Pack, help me move this seat, man. We're still sinking. Shit. I'll get you out of here, Don. You hear me?
How, man? The doors are stuck shut.
Shit!
This wasn't how it's supposed to happen, Irish. Rucker, take my gun.
The fuck are you thinking,
Yours
Don?
now.
The fuck are you thinking?
For the wolf to survive, it's got to chew off its own leg.
Fire! Negative, don't do it!
Now, Wrecker, shoot out the window.
That's an order! Don't you fucking do it, Wrecker!
Save yourselves. Get out of here. Get out of here!
Fucking bullshit, man! You hear me?
Shoot out the window or you all die!
I feel like this format in general is a great way to immediately have the player develop some attachment to these characters through the shared trauma. The entire Battlefield 4 campaign does a great job of making you feel like you're within a movie and has several points like this where you must make tough moral decisions. However, in my opinion, the work that they put into making the campaign so cinematic was at the cost of making the gameplay quite bland. And I will talk about this more throughout this video as I analyze Battlefield 4's first campaign mission, Baku. As soon as you flash back in time, you're in a dark, dingy building, and as you navigate the hallways, the game puts you through a short little tutorial on how their movement system works. This is the typical space to jump, C to crouch kind of thing that you see in most FPS games, but they do it in a way that works well to try not to ruin the immersion that they're trying to build with this cinematic campaign. The tooltips are small and on the side, but visible enough so that you can still understand them and see them clearly. After this short tutorial, you meet up with your squad for an in-game cutscene in which the basic plot of the mission is laid out. The squad has recovered important intel and must make it to an extraction point, but it's not revealed what this intel is until later on in the mission.
Where the hell you been? After the handoff went pear-shaped, I came straight here. They were Russians, right? Spec ops, 1 second they're there, the next they're not.
Take deep breaths, son. You got the intel?
Yeah, got it.
Nice play.
Hostiles in the windows, across!
After that quick cutscene, you're given a tutorial on the shooting mechanics and of the resupply stations that are positioned throughout the campaign. It's a quick little scenario where you are just shooting at a few enemies that are coming towards you, and here the game also gives you its first example of what its player guidance system looks like. Here and later on, pretty much the only player guidance within the campaign is given through the communication of your NPC squad mates. They tell the players things like, enemy on the left, or in the windows on the right. This is the only real guidance that the player needs throughout these missions, as the level, and those to come, are very linear.
Tombstone, on the move.
As the player moves through the building, they get a look at the next mechanic that the game introduces, which is squad fire. The player can mark targets, and their squad mates will shoot at them together. While this mechanic is great for identifying where the enemies are, that's pretty much its only use, as your AI teammates are basically worthless and can stand next to an enemy shooting at them without damaging them at all. Your squad is most likely weak in an attempt to empower the player and make them feel like the hero of the story, but I feel that all it does is ruin the immersion that they're trying to build. Not only are your teammates incapable, but the enemy AI is very lackluster as well. Even on the middle of the 3 difficulties that the game has to offer, which this gameplay is recorded on, it's almost as though the enemies can't even damage the player, and their main goal is to run to whatever designated cover they have, no matter how dangerous it would be for them. The weak AI for your teammates and for the enemies makes the overall gameplay feel very boring, and the fact that the levels are linear does not help this. However, even with how linear the levels are, there's still room for the players to explore, and if they do so, they can find things like this collectible hidden throughout each level. After the player fights through the waves of enemies to escape this dingy building, you're met with your first big arrival. As you blow up the wall with the explosives, the world opens into a very short-lived forest segment that gives you a very expansive feeling.
Fire in the hole, everybody! Let's go.
Tombstone Actual, this is Firebird 2-1. We're inbound. What's your ETA, over?
And as you approach the ridge in front of you, the first arrival is blown away by a second arrival that reveals the large construction area in which the main fighting of this level takes place.
Scan the area. That's the building.
Here the player is introduced to yet another mechanic that just helps you spot enemies easier. The player then has to fight through waves of enemies towards the big building at the end of the construction yard. The boring gameplay as you fight through these waves is polar opposite to the suspense that they build as your extraction chopper is flying overhead attempting to link up with your squad. About halfway through the construction area, you have to go through a small drainage tunnel, which as you exit it, your chopper flies in overhead really close to you, and it just adds to that cinematic feel that the mission is trying to go for.
Stick to the plan, Dunn. Push onto the roof.
Roger that. We'll be... This rickety old place creeps me out.
Forget it. We're all alive, guys. That's all that counts.
Clear.
Corners, guys.
This shit is the best way up.
It's the fastest. No time to explore any options.
Wait till you see the terrace view.
Oh, I expect to be blown away.
Shut up. Eyes peeled.
Once you finish fighting your way through to the big building, your squad is ambushed by an enemy helicopter and it gets very cinematic. I think that the effects here, as the building collapses, are outstanding. Between the visual effects and the sound effects, I think they did a really good job here.
Motherfuckers gonna tear this place down.
What? How far is it? I think this is the top floor.
Take cover!
Tombstone Actual, where the hell are you?
Top floor. Running.
It's backing off. Dunn, get everyone in the chopper, now!
This intel better be fucking worth it!
Move it.
Get in here now. The building's unstable. Come on. Stand back. I've lost control. Shit. I'm hit. Going down. I'm
Holy shit. You okay, man? Pack, any sign of Hawkins and the rest of the crew?
No one survived that.
Get Dunn away from the wreckage.
I can't. He's buried.
Try. I'm over here digging up Wrecker.
Oh, my leg. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Jesus Christ, his leg looks like pop sausage.
You're gonna be fine, Dunn. You're gonna be okay, man. We're gonna get you out.
Pack the fuel.
Yeah, I know.
Stop. Wrecker, cover me. Get out now. Get out.
Please, I'll help you.
No, please. No, you have to get out of here. It's not safe. Fucking civilians.
Wrecker, I need your knife. Well, 4 staff, Sergeant. Gotta cut the leg. Gotta do what? Wrecker, come here. A wolf stuck in a trap will chew off its own leg to survive. Come on. The bone's powder, just flesh and uniform keeping me here. Do it, cut it now.
We gotta go.
Is he dead?
He's not dead, he's just passed out. You're the combat lifesaver, man. You should know this, Pat.
It was like a 3-hour course.
The cutscene that follows as you come to consciousness is decently done in that it makes the player feel even more attached to their squad mates than before as they're attempting to rescue their squad leader, Sergeant Dunn. I dislike how random it feels when the NPC who comes to help just casually drives up to a fallen building with a crashed helicopter and another helicopter that's seemingly still around in the air, and then also leaves his car to run away when told to do so. I think this was poorly done and that they could have introduced their getaway vehicle in a way that could have felt much more natural, like jumping a utility van in the parking lot or something.
Incoming! Down!
Let's go! Chopper's coming back around, let's go!
Hey, these Azerbaijanis are all right, huh? Come on, in. You're gonna be okay, Dunn. You're gonna be okay. We're gonna get you out. You're gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, right?
It's the boss, man. You're damn right it's gonna be okay.
As you load into your getaway car, you're met with your final arrival, in which you drive out of the smoke and debris of the fallen helicopter and building into what seems like normal weather. I also dislike this portion of the level, as the road you drive on is just curvy and straight, and there's no real difficulty in actually driving the car. There's no turns or anything in the road, so it's very boring. And on top of that, the weather, which had seemingly been clear as you were approaching the big construction building only 5 minutes prior, is now very dark and cloudy and almost seems like there's a storm coming.
You're gonna be fine.
If the intel we got is right about Admiral Chang and the Russians, none of us is going home. Anyone else here in the open in bars and Dixie?
Just hang in there. Speed up, Red. Dunn's going into shock.
Pat, what's
Here it
happening?
comes! Wrecker, you shake it.
Not fucking likely. Where the fuck is it? Where'd it go? You don't see it?
Didn't see where the heck it went.
There, I see it. Get ready.
Speed up. Oh, that was too close.
Step on it, damn it.
It's landing.
As you continue down the road, the chopper catches up to you, and you must very cinematically shoot it out of the air with a grenade launcher, which causes it to crash in front of you on the road.
Burn those motherfuckers!
This prompts a cutscene in which you're forced to drive into the water, which explains the opening scene of the mission. This cutscene continues with you and your squad swimming away from the sinking car, while audio of the mission's debriefing plays in the background.
Zone retrieve the intel. And in the event of a Chinese military coup.
For a AAA FPS game like Battlefield, I feel like their campaign leaves a lot to be desired with the boring gameplay. I think that this mission is a success for what they were going for, as the effects throughout the mission and all of the scenery and cutscenes are done very well and are very cinematic, and it's a good way to help the player get involved with the characters. But I feel that the immersion that they're trying to achieve is ruined by the lackluster gameplay. That said, if you bump it up to the hardest difficulty and suffer through how unforgivable the enemy AI becomes, you can still experience a very movie-like campaign with likable characters that are easy to get attached to who make the story a very unforgettable one.